I'm gonna start by saying I see what you was trying to get at. But at the same time, no, I don't.
Welcome on another episode, you guys. How are you doing? If you are joining for the very first time, thank you. And to everyone supporting the channel, thank you so much. We have an Asian guy here. His name is the Angry Asian. He made a video talking about why can't people just comply with the police, because some of these reports and this police brutality will have never been a thing. These people will have never died if they can just comply with the police. And people are coming in on police brutality from the minority, especially Black people's perspective, and how exactly it is, and how this video can be a little bit tone deaf. So I am going to roll the clip and we are going to get into what the people are saying. So let's get right into what these people have to say about this guy's video.
Look, I know what I'm about to say might be seen as really controversial, but why don't motherfuckers...
Okay, so this was a really interesting video, and I don't think he had any malintent behind this. The thing about police brutality for minorities, and specifically Black people, is that being, pulled over by the police is way worse than being trapped in a fucking dark alleyway with a goddamn goon. Like, yo, I've literally had a gun pulled on me before, and I laughed in that nigga's face. But seeing a police officer 20 feet away from me scares the shit out of me. You never know if you're gonna be the guy the police officer decides to take his anger out on. And the sad truth about these routine traffic stops and these routine home invasions and shit is that it doesn't matter if you comply or not, you're still going to die. I would much rather go out kicking and screaming and making sure my story gets told than just sitting there and letting myself die. It's never just a routine traffic stop. It's never just searching someone's apartment. It's never just identifying a suspect. When these people look at you as less than human, as beneath them, you're going to die regardless. I don't think it's a matter of complying.
1000% confident that at least half of these motherfuckers wouldn't have died if they just complied with what the police were saying.
I'm gonna start by saying I see what you was trying to get at. But at the same time, no, I don't. But before I get into why you're misguided, let me listen to your questions first.
And look, I completely get that these guys are probably shitting their pants in fear right now, because I would be too. I'd be scared as hell if I was in that situation. But I'm gonna ask you guys this as well. If you were in a random situation where it wasn't a cop, but it was you getting robbed by somebody in a dark alleyway and you had a gun to your fucking back, would you act the same way as you would where you're just flailing your arms around, screaming and kicking this motherfucker? No, because that's how you get shot and that's how you die.
The reason why you wouldn't act out if someone has a gun to your back trying to rob you is because that person is there for the express purpose to take something from you, and if you don't comply, you will get shot. This person is not trying to operate within the best interest of public safety. This person obviously doesn't give a damn about the laws that are restricting him from acting any type of way, or else they wouldn't be robbing you. And you know what? That motherfucker's probably wild as hell, because to even go up to someone and want to rob them is like, it's wild. A cop's job is 90% of the time to give someone a citation when they violated a traffic rule. There reasonably should be no expectation that your failure to comply or follow some direction, as long as you're not directly posing a threat to a cop, should result in your death. It says a lot that you had to draw a parallel to a robbery in order to get in the same lane of behavior that cops exhibit, despite the fact that cops are supposed to be public servants.
It's just a routine traffic stop. I don't know why you just want to fucking turn into the Flash all of a sudden and just speed off into the distance. You're putting yourself in more danger for no reason. And for the people that say, oh, I don't comply with police is because I hate all police, that shit would make no fucking sense either. I fucking hate my English teacher, but I still listen to what the hell she says.
Nobody or they mama has ever said that I don't comply with police because I just hate the police. Nobody and they mama is actually making a conscious effort 9 times out of 10 to not listen to the police. In the example of your English teacher, let's say you're on your way to a class and you got a test or something that you need to do. And all you need to do is just make it through this hallway to get to that class. All of a sudden, Miss Smith decides to pull you to the side for no reason because you weren't doing anything. And now she's pressing you, threatening to hit you with a ruler if you don't listen, and then she just gonna go back to her room and spend 20 fucking minutes printing out a slip for you to go to the dean's office or some shit. Mind you, you had a whole normal, copacetic, fine day up until this point. You're probably gonna be a little angry or miffed at minimum. If I were to turn to Miss Smith and be like, you don't even gotta be stopping me right now. I'm not even doing nothing. I'm just trying to speed walk to get to my class. I shouldn't expect to die for giving lip. Like
if I ever get pulled over by a cop, I'm answering every single question just so I can get out that hoe as fast as possible. But for some reason, motherfuckers just love arguing police for no goddamn reason, refusing to answer the most basic questions. They're just normal people who are just trying to do their job. And look, I'm not trying to say that police brutality doesn't happen to people in this country. It 1000% does. But what I am trying to say is that you not complying with police does not make you some advocate anti-cop rebel.
I can understand with the frustration of people not wanting to answer questions, but a lot of the time it's because of a misunderstanding of the law on behalf of the person getting pulled over, or a lot of times even the cop. But nobody is failing to comply with police just because they want to be an anti-cop rebel or whatever. In fact, we can talk a lot about this, but let's actually dig into something. This entire time we've been sitting back acting like police are the most rational, beings on the planet. Like, you just put in a 1 or a 0 and then they give you your ticket and go about your day if you give them no trouble. People get put on edge with the police and don't really like being around them because they know even if they do things right, they could still end up being shot. Like somebody who was literally handcuffed in the back of a cop car and then the deputy started firing randomly at his own cop car because he thought it was a gunshot coming from it when it was an acorn hitting the roof. Motherfucker, you think you just arrested John Wick? How did you arrest somebody and not pat them down enough to realize they didn't have a gun and then think they escaped the handcuffs and started shooting? On top of that, remember when Tyree Nichols got killed? They gave that motherfucker 71 commands in 13 minutes that contradicted themselves. Now, obviously, no one should run from the police, but once you get caught by the police, we have a Bill of Rights for a reason. So that cops can't just fucking kill you and you can actually see a trial where you face the consequences of running. I was gonna show a lot of this body cam footage from the Tyree Nichols situation, but it is kind of graphic. But he is the most, you can look up this source if you want to, he is the most calm motherfucker here. And they're yelling at him to get on the ground and roll on his stomach before they tase him. Meanwhile, the dude's foot is on his wrist, so it's physically impossible for him to roll over. Because in the heat of the moment, when your whole day's been interrupted and someone's yelling at you, let alone like 4 officers yelling at you, the human response is to be like, okay, hold on, y'all cool down, I'm not really doing nothing, this is kind of a lot. And I keep leading by saying when you're not really doing nothing, because data like this exists, where between 2012 and 2014, black people in Ferguson, Missouri accounted for 85% of vehicle stops, 90% of citations, and 93% of arrests, despite comprising 67% of the population. And black people were more than twice as likely as white people to be searched after a traffic stop, even when controlling for related variables, and they were 26% less likely to actually be in possession of illegal drugs or weapons. The Justice Department also found that the racial discrepancy in speeding tickets increased dramatically when the researchers looked at tickets based on an officer's word versus tickets based on an objective standard like a radar gun. So there is evidence that cops, some of the time when they'll get black people, just do it to fuck around with them or because of unconscious bias. So going back to the teacher analogy, if you were just trying to get to your class and then there was a bunch of teachers who will just stop you and then they were investigated and it turns out they were actually stopping you for no fucking reason when you look at what they were supposed to stop you for as opposed to what they just said, would you not be a little bit more on edge when you're around these teachers, or at least not really respect them as much, considering that you know that they just be doing this for no reason? And more importantly, should a foreseeable outcome of you being more on edge and not 100% complying mean that you die instead of facing the proper consequences of your action, which is getting whatever discipline for whatever you actually were doing? On paper, it sounds really good, but it's acting as though policing is here only to be this rational arbiter of what is and is not the law, and does not carry decades of systemic animus and hatred and bigotry towards demographics of people. Those ideologies come out in a lot of officers when they're trying to just do their job. Good day.
Really controversial, but why don't motherfuckers just comply with the police?
You know, as I think about takes like this, I'm reminded of a sentiment that I heard a little while ago. And it was, why is it that we're expecting untrained civilians to act with more composure than trained officers with loaded firearms? It also reminds me of a story of a guy who was sitting with his patient who he was giving care to. And his patient was having a bit of a episode, if you will, mental health crisis. And he was literally sitting on the ground, a few feet away from his patient, with his hands in the air, posing no threat whatsoever. And the cops still shot him. And when asked, hey man, why'd you shoot me? The cop said, oh no. I say all that to say it's 2024. We're tired of this bullshit narrative. Good day. Goofy.
What do you guys think about the creator's point, the creator that started this conversation, the Asian guy? What do you guys think about his take? He's forgetting the fact that these people are literally going to stop you just by the color of your skin. And the amount of reports that people are seeing on social media is already getting them tensed even before coming closer to these people, because once you see them, you start by actually thinking if you're safe or not, because the chances of you actually being safe is very slim. And let's not forget the fact that the amount of this police brutality case is basically just these cops abusing their power. Once they put on that uniform and they pick on that gun, they are literally going to unleash every single thing, especially on people of color, on black people. This is what they do. Like, it's very easy to say, can't you just comply? Nothing is going to happen to you if you comply. But the very first guy that talked said, whether you comply or not, as a minority, as a black person, it doesn't guarantee that you're still not going to die. So what exactly are you shooting at? I feel like I understand where these people are coming from. I as well can understand where this guy is coming from, but it's a little bit tone deaf to the reality of this police brutality case from the perspective of black people and people of color, because I know for a fact that his video is actually directed to black people. I'd like to hear what you guys think about what he said in the comment section. I've seen so many people even share their experience talking about even them bringing out that gun even though they are complying, because they just want to unleash their anger. Once they see the color of your skin, they just get triggered by only God knows what and just want to unleash that on you. So whether you're complying or not, it still doesn't guarantee that something is not going to happen to you. Like someone said, the problem is not the amount of danger, it is literally the power imbalance. So it's so unsafe for these people. So whether you see them or not, imagine consuming so many videos or seeing so many reports and news of these people literally just doing whatever they like to the people that look like you, whether they comply or not. Yes, we've seen reports over and over again. Imagine just seeing that. Why wouldn't you be tense when you come across them or when you see them or when they tell you to pull over? Like, you're literally going to be scared. We're human, so it's okay to have those feelings. So I would like to hear what you guys think in the comment section. Thank you all so much for joining. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe before you go and turn your bell notification on as well. And I will see you guys in the next one.